Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you have your file is you want to mask it out inside the actual image. It's a little easier to work with. So you remember, and this image is not the highest quality, but that's okay because you're going to make it really small on the page anyway. But you want to do, a simple mask. Using the quick mask is a really good way to mask it. So we're grabbing, and this brush is really, really big. So I'm probably going to have to make this brush a little smaller using the bracket. So I'm using the quick mask, and I'm just kind of getting around close to his head, right? And maybe his hand here, a little bit of the hand. I'm getting a little bit more closer, plus, and get some more of this reel here and the side of his body. Oh, and it got a lot right there. If you notice, it grabbed this. So what I can do is I can make it smaller, and I can hold down the minus, and then I can get rid of that. And there we go.
Do you hold down minus again?
Yep, so the minus is the option key. So if you look, I couldn't see it because the tool was really, really small. But if you hold down the option key or the Alt key, do you have a PC or a Mac?
Mac.
Okay, so if you have a Mac, it's the option key, and you notice how it goes minus? There's a little minus.
Yeah.
So when you do option, it minuses the selection, right? And then if you're just regular selecting it, it's already in plus. And all of those things are in the upper right, left-hand corner of your control panel. You could see I'm at the plus option, and so it always is going to be plus. And the only way to switch it to minus is to go to option, and it switches. You see how it jumps? If you look up here in the corner, you see how it jumps when I go to minus?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what it's doing. And then you can still like bring back certain parts. So now I'm going to go really, really small brush, and I'm going to come over here and select a little bit of this. And it's okay that it's getting more of this because it's, we can adjust it later. So we pretty much have it, and including this little part right here, which is not a big deal. And even you can even come closer, and you can look a little bit. See, it's getting a little, you're showing the pixels a little bit more, but that's all right. And you can even get it really small, and then I'm not pressing anything because it's already on plus. You can come over here and grab a little bit more, but you can always edit this later in your mask. The first idea behind this is to just get a general selection, and then we can come over here and we can change it later, and we can alter it later. So it's just like a general idea. So then once you have this, then you go over here to the bottom of your layer palette and you push mask. So now you have this mask. So in order to get this inside of your page, instead of copying and pasting, you want to bring in, oh, I missed his
legs.
Yeah, sorry about that. So I have to hold down the shift key, or not shift key, I just have to make this a little bigger. And then I have to get a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. We got his legs. All right, so now I can go over here and mask it, right? So we have the selection that we did for the fisherman. And if I hold down the shift key, I can hide what that looked like before. You could probably even incorporate her in there if you wanted to maybe reveal more of her. You're gonna have to maybe extend the pole up in here, but we'll just work with him for right now. And we're gonna duplicate this to the layout, this layout, which is our layout that has a bleed around it. And so I'm gonna bring this in, I'm gonna right click, and I'm gonna say duplicate layer, which is up here, duplicate layer. And I'm gonna find it, samwork.psd. And then we'll come over and see, there he is. So he's really super small. He's a small, low resolution image, so that could be a problem. Probably the reason why it's so pixelated when we zoom in, if you could see. But we're gonna soften up the edges on this anyway. So even if I zoom into this, I'm gonna soften it up maybe after I enlarge them a little bit later. So we'll get that in. The next thing we wanna do is we wanna put the image of the background. And so this image was found so that we could see a little bit below the boat and also the above the boat, and we can also see the fish that he's catching. So we're going to duplicate this. If I go to right click and I say duplicate layer, and then go into the project, and there it is. It's pretty big already, so you can see it's like pretty big. I don't want it to be too far up, but I do really like that bottom portion of the screen. So bottom portion of the ocean. So I'm gonna bring this down, and I'm actually gonna put it behind him. And I know he's kind of floating there because we're gonna put a boat there. But I also want to incorporate that bottom portion. So I'm gonna duplicate this image, and I'm gonna move it up kind of where I want it. I guess that's pretty good. And then I'm gonna apply a mask to this. If I hold down the Option or the Alt key and I click on the little mask section, that's gonna mask out the whole entire thing. And then I'm gonna bring back this little area that's here. So I'm gonna mask it, hold down the Option or the Alt key, click on the mask. That's down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the layered palette. And there it is. And now with a white, with a brush, and that's nice and big and soft. There it is. There's 0% hardness, and that's all up in here. And I'm gonna do it with white. I'm gonna bring all of that back. There we go. Pretty good. So that's pretty nice. So we got the bottom. So what I did was I just kind of duplicated it and brought it in. Not too bad. And now we're going to put the boat in there. So we have a boat, and I've already masked out the boat using Quick Mask, and the quick selection. And it's not the best, but it'll do for now. There's even some parts right in here that I have to get rid of. But it's just a quick, selection that I've already done. And I'm going to duplicate this. And I also cropped it. This image it was really, really big, and I cropped it down. So now I'm going to right click, and I'm going to duplicate layer. I'm going to put this inside Sam Work image. Click OK, and come over here, and there it is. It's huge, so I want to make it a little smaller. So I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I'm going to scale this down. If you're working in the newest version of Photoshop, you don't have to hold down the Shift key, but I have an older version of Photoshop, so mine's 2018, so I'm going to hold down the Shift key to get that smaller. So there we got a little smaller. And if I want to make them really, really super small, give them a lot of space, I can do that. This would really work. I could also make this, a fairly big size, and then I can enlarge him a little bit. But I know he's pretty pixelated, but I'm gonna show you how you can hide that pixelation. So there's my boat, and then there's the guy, and he's on top of it right now, and we want him to be behind it, right? So if he goes behind it, we have to pull it right behind the boat. There he is. So there he is. And he's not the highest quality, but I do want to make him a little bit bigger. So I'm going to go up to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I'm going to scale him up a little bit, just a little bit. There we go. And so now I want to, I'm going to hide this for a minute. The string, or the line that he's pulling out, goes in the distance over here. I really want it to go into the water. So to hide your mask, you hold down the Shift key. To show your mask, you just click it back. And so I'm going to rotate each one of these. So I just need to rotate him a little bit. So let's go to him only, and then let's rotate him. Transform. So it's Edit, Transform, Rotate. There we go. And it looks like, see, he's getting cut off because there's not much more of his pants. And I can actually add more of the pants as well if I want, or I could just put him on the side. And that's okay to be on the side. He's kind of getting in there to try to get that line. So now I have it. and I'm going to move all of these two over. Okay. Just kind of, and I could probably even move this over and cut this out if I wanted to and make this the focal point. That's another option as well. So why don't I do that? Let's look at where there's the edge of my page, and that's the bleed. So it's going to crop off right here. So I'm going to show my guides, Command R. Oh, the rule, there it is. And I'm actually going to put a guide down here to show where my bleed is, and a guide over here to see where my bleed is. So that's where it's going to get cropped off. So right here, it's going to crop off a little bit of that boat. Okay, so now I want to put the line down here so that he could see he's looking down at the fish that he's catching. So I'm just going to go to the top layer here and move this up a little bit. If you go to the pen tool and the pen tool, there's options with shape and options with path, and they're all right here in the corner here. So I'm going to change this to shape. I'm going to make sure the fill is none and the stroke is white. And probably even, I can even change it maybe to gray instead of white, right? We can try that out. And then I'm going to click to where this is going to start. And then I'm going to come down here and click and kind of do that kind of thing. There it is. And then I'm going to change the width of this to be 1.5, return, and then click away and see what happens. So that's not bad. It's a little hard to see the line, but it's working out. If I want to change the color of this line, I can go back to the pen tool, and then it selects the line again, and then I can change the color if I want it to be a little bit darker, or if I want it to be a little bit thicker. I can do that. 1.75, would that work? Let's see. Yep. And then I click away and I can see it. So there's the line that's coming down. There's this, it's down here. I'm probably going to have to even mask this out a little bit right here. So I would go to the mask and create a mask. And then inside here, I want to mask this out. Maybe something pretty soft. Oh, too big of a brush. And we're going to do that with black. There it is. Okay. And then obviously we're going to get a little fish that's in here as well. And I can play around even with the coloring on this particular one, though it's in the water. So right now it's very gray up here, so we can see it really good. The one on the bottom, I can then go into my adjustment layers, brightness and contrast. I can bring up the brightness, have it apply to the layer that's underneath of it, right? And then even mask this out. So Option Delete masks out the mask. And then I can bring back with white, just that one, so that I have more of a white line that's under here, right? So it's gray on the top, but it's white on the bottom because it's in the ocean and we could see it a little bit better. Let's save that.